one's staying, so
Okay, guys, we figured it out. It's 2025, first time using Zoom. I apologize.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
It's like, oh God, I should have tried this earlier. Anyway, hi everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Jamie Fox. I'm the Partnerships Director of the New York State Brewers Association. And yeah, I'm just really excited about the potential of you guys all coming on this tour with us. I'm sure most of you know what the New York State Brewers Association is, which is how you got on this call in the first place. So we just appreciate your enthusiasm and your support. And I hope you're also joining us in a New York beer as we go on this adventure together. So I'm going to kick it over to Sophia and Carson from EF Tours, and they'll tell you all the things that I don't know yet.
Hi, everyone. We are so excited to be partnering, thank you, Jamie, with the New York State Brewers Association on this Beers of Germany tour. And I have to start out by saying the greatest part about this tour is it was custom crafted for your group. Like with the New York State Brewers Association, this is not something that's open to the public. It is specifically for you guys. So really special thing there that it is private and it is specifically like custom crafted, if you will. I love the idea of having it crafted for the New York State Brewers Association. You can see it is September 14th through the 23rd of next year. Great time to be going because you will be catching Oktoberfest, but we'll get into that here in a second. So what our meeting will cover, we will be talking about EF, who we are, who your travel partner is, good to know when you're traveling, and then going through the itinerary, going through this amazing custom itinerary that was crafted just for you, as well as there is an optional excursion to add on. And then, of course, we will be going into the details. Carson, our flight guru, is going to be going into our flight packages, our insurance, as well as, of course, pricing. We will have time at the end for questions. So just know if any bubble up, put them in the chat. We can read back or just save them for the end there. So I have a little video, just as a little teaser. This is not our first Oktoberfest. But as much as this is like a custom tour for you guys, I just absolutely love this video and I had to share it. One thing I want to mention before I play it, we did just something we're proud of. We just got Best Tour Operator for 2025, but from Newsweek's Reader's Choice. So just a little something we like to brag about. I feel like after that, I have to say Prost. Prost.
wow.
It always wants to play twice. I think it's just excited. As far as who you're traveling with, who is EF? So something I love to mention is we are family owned still. However, we have this global presence. Some of you may have heard of us through our student side, through our college side. We have Ultimate Break, as well as if you've traveled with Go Ahead in the past. Please let us know, when you go to book because you might be eligible for additional discounts. I just mentioned that here. But mainly, I love to mention that we're so much more than just travel. We have language learning centers all over the world. We have cultural exchange program. We have Holt International Business School. What this means to you as a traveler is all those little blue dots is an EF presence globally. So we know the world's a crazy place right now. You can take peace of mind knowing that who you're traveling with has boots on the ground in every single time zone. A good example of that is nobody likes thinking or talking about COVID, but when that happened, when those travel restrictions were announced, we had every single traveler home safely within 72 hours. And you couldn't do that if you didn't have this kind of global presence. So we love to let you know about it. Who Go Ahead is. So we just kind of talked about our parent company, EF, that huge global scope. Go Ahead. It's our adult guided side. I like to start by saying whatever, and we all have our like misconceptions of what adult guided travel is. Please throw those out the window. That is not us. We are the opposite. We like to immerse you. So that is the key word. You'll hear me saying it a lot. That starts with authentic local cuisine. So think sausages, and I love to say, like my husband Tom, I think he tried when we were over in Germany, every single sausage in every single region. They're all kind of have their specialties and famous ones. So you'll have to give those a try when you're over there. And then of course our expert tour directors. We're known for these. I mentioned the accolades we got from Newsweek. Our tour directors have gotten write-ups in most of the major travel publications for a reason. They're locally based. They know the ins and outs of these destinations. They speak the language. They're there from pretty much the minute you get off the flight to the minute you get back on, just ensuring everything runs smoothly, making sure that you're hitting all the highlights, but avoiding all the tourist traps. Like I still, to this day, thank you, Alex. When I went to Florence last year with one of our tours, I had done all the research, and I wanted to go to an Instagram sandwich shop I found, and I was like, what do you think of this place? And he was like, Sophia, avoid it, go 2 doors down and have an amazing sandwich. And it was one of the best I've ever had in my life. So thank you for that, Alex. Think of them as your VIP guide to these cities. Immersion, that added layer that we have is guided sightseeing tours. So think a local guide, think a city guide, somebody who actually lives in that city and can immerse you that one step further. Our flight options. I won't spend too much time here because we have our flight guru, Carson, and he can speak to this way better than I can. But just know that they're only major carriers. We're not going to fly you Spirit Air to Munich. Not that they travel there, but know that they are only major carriers. So think like your Uniteds, your Deltas, your Americans, and their affiliates. We also include transfers. A key component here, though, is they are optional. So, and we'll speak to this a little bit later, but just know that it is something you can choose to add or choose not to. Our handpicked hotels. These are well vetted. We know this itinerary is incredible. I can't wait to dive into it, but they're big days, and we want you to have a comfortable, just amazing place to lay your head. So our handpicked hotels, you can think like a 4-star quality, well vetted, and I'm excited for you to experience them. Why travel matters. So diving into the itinerary, to the meat of this. You can see September 14th through the 23rd. We will be ending in Oktoberfest, starting in Frankfurt, where you'll fly in, going to Bamberg, Nuremberg, stopping briefly in that Hallertau region, and then ending in Munich. I'm not going to keep you here all night with all the details of this itinerary. If you'd like a detailed account, please take out your phones, scan the QR code. That will take you to the website. All the details are there. You can also register for the tour there. So just know I'll give you guys a minute to do that. And I love that you guys are traveling here, not just because you'll catch Oktoberfest, but the weather is fantastic at this point in Germany. The leaves will be changing. It's going to be really beautiful. All right. Hopefully everybody got a chance to scan that. If not, I will have it at the end. So just know that. So we've talked about EF, we've talked about Go Ahead, we've talked about, who we are. Now let's dive into the itinerary, what this package includes. So 8 nights in those handpicked hotels. Again, amazing quality, hand vetted. 3 lunches are included and 3 dinners with beer or wine, 8 breakfasts. So you can think breakfast daily. So think of a really nice continental European spread. There is a little bit of everything. I feel like everybody leaves full and happy to start the day off. 8 beer tastings, 3 food tastings. You do get entrance into Oktoberfest. Our tour director will take you in, so you really kind of get, again, that kind of VIP experience. 9 sightseeing tours, and then, of course, expert tour director, who I just mentioned, local guides, and a private deluxe motor coach. I have to say, as a mom of an almost 2-year-old, just turned 2, one of the great perks of this that I feel like nobody thinks about is, if you have a big bag, if you have a water bottle, you can leave it on the bus. That's the great thing about being in a private group and having a private motor coach. Just like to add that. Some highlights, you can see them here, but we'll get into that with the itinerary. So we start you off in Frankfurt. Day one is going to be a travel day. Most of you will be coming from New York. Know that if you do have friends and family across the US, we can fly them from anywhere in the continental US or from Canada. So just know that this is open. But that first day is a travel day. Usually you'll leave late afternoon, early evening, have an overnight flight that's going to arrive in Frankfurt. So day two is going to be your arrival day. We know you just had a big day of travel. We want you to be able to just kind of acclimate, adjust, feel human, I like to say. Check into your hotel that night. You're going to have a welcome dinner where you're going to meet the rest of the group. This is a really special night. We like to say, like, you're never traveling alone with these groups. You make long-lasting friendships. It's pretty incredible. Save room on your phone for pictures. You will need it. And this is a really special night because you'll get to know the group. You'll also meet your tour director. They'll set expectations for the rest of the tour and just kind of give you the laydown of how like the next day and the days to come are going. That night, that welcome dinner is paired with a selection of craft beers. So really kind of cool thing there. Day three, we're going to transfer you on to Bamberg, where you'll have a sightseeing tour. The city is actually UNESCO World Heritage City. You'll get to see Bamberg Cathedral. You'll get to see the new palace. You'll get to see the Old Town Hall and Little Venice, which is, you can actually kind of see it pictured here. And then in the afternoon, we're actually going to take you on a private tour of the Weyermann Specialty Malts facility, where you will get to see how they produce. They're, global leaders in malt distilling. You'll get to see, just kind of the impact of the different flavors, as well as you'll have a beer tasting of some of their brews at the visitor center. Day four, we're going to have specifically a Bamberg beer tour. So they have over 900 years of brewing history. You'll get to hear about, apparently there was a beer war. I'm excited for you guys to learn more about that, as well as you'll get to see the Franconian Brewery Museum, and you'll be able to taste, Bamberg is famous for their Roke beer, their smoked beer. So you'll be able to taste that. And then that afternoon is actually a free afternoon we give you. And I love this about our tours. They're big days. We want you to have some time to explore on your own and get to have those see those bucket list items that you might have. If you do want to fill that free time, if you don't want a free afternoon, we are offering an optional excursion. There's a lot included in this tour. This is actually the only optional excursion. It is a tavern dinner and beer tasting in Bamberg at a traditional tavern. You're going to have some local dishes as well as curated beer tasting, just kind of celebrating the city's history. So from Bamberg, we're going to continue on to Nuremberg. We're going to be there for 2 nights. So on the way, you'll be able to, you're making your way to Nuremberg. You're going to have a local guide that's going to show you around the city. I have actually been to Nuremberg. It is beautiful. It is stunning. It is a walled city. You get to see on this local guide is on this sightseeing tour, the local guide will be taking you not only to the old city walls, but also to the Kaiserberg, which is, you can actually see it pictured here. It's their castle on the hill. If you get a chance, there's actually a really nice little tavern at the bottom of the hill. I would highly recommend, FYI. And then that evening is something really special. We're going to get you into the rock cut cellars. You can see a picture of that here, where you're going to get just a glimpse into the city's brewing history as well as its wartime history. So you're going to get to go through those passageways and really kind of explore how the brewers use them. You get to taste a traditional Nuremberg red beer, which I have to say it's fabulous. And then you're going to end at a dinner at a nearby restaurant where you'll enjoy local cuisine and be able to have some optional beer or wine that is included. Day 6 is going to be a free day. So this is a day to just kind of explore Nuremberg on your own. There's a lot to do. It's just a great city to just be into. Some really beautiful spots. Like I mentioned, if you can check out that tavern at the bottom of the Kaiserberg, I would highly recommend it. Day 7 is going to be traveling on to Munich. We are going to have some amazing stops on the way. So you're going to be able to actually go to a hop farm in that Hallertau region. It's actually one of the largest continuous hop growing regions on the planet. And you can see like a picture of those hops there. I mean, I can't even imagine those are like fully grown men. If I was there, I'd probably look like a hobbit or something like that. They're huge. So you get to actually get there, be in amongst the hops, and we're going to have you have a tasting of some Bavarian pastries, local beer, and some hops infused tea and lemonade. And then from there, we're actually going to take you to, and please don't judge my pronunciation, Kokelbur brewery, which has actually been described as one of the most beautiful breweries in the world. You can actually see it. It's the top picture there. Our whole team was like, oh my God, it's like if Willy Wonka designed a brewery. It looks incredible. And I am so jealous. I want to see all the pictures and it's on my bucket list now. But you actually get to see that fantastic observation tower and see those like the colors and the imagination. It just looks insanely cool. And of course, we want you to be able to try it so you'll be able to taste their signature brews as well as have an amazing Bavarian pretzel in that setting. I'm very, very jealous. Day 8, Oktoberfest. We are here. We're in Munich, and you will have your tour director there to take you in, kind of give you a layout, and you can go off and explore and have fun. There is a beer tasting included as well as a food tasting at Oktoberfest. So I'm really excited for you guys to kind of have that amazing. I mean, that's like a bucket list item. It is the biggest beer party in the world. Day 9, sightseeing tour of Munich. So we want to get you out, see Munich itself. Again, I feel like every city in Germany has their like signature sausage. There's one in Nuremberg, there's one in Munich. Make sure that you're trying that. It makes me think of it because I think you'll see the Ratskeller, that's like the main square there. There's an incredible clock. You are going to get there's a really nice little restaurant. You can get some local sausage there. My husband and I did it. But you will have a local guide to just kind of give you the layout. They're going to give you a true taste of the legendary beer culture in Munich. So think of like those roots of the purity laws. If you're, if you're a beer nerd and you know that those I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but Reinheitsgott. Jamie, I bet you could definitely.
So I can, but I really wanted to hear you do it first.
Okay,
It's Reinheitsgebot.
I was close.
I was like, should I jump in? No, no.
No, I'm glad you let me experience that on my own. But you'll be able to have a sample of those Bavarian beers, the ones that they're famous for, as well as, of course, we're going to get you into the Beer and Oktoberfest Museum, and get you into some of those legendary beer halls. We want you to be able to experience it. And of course, all good things must come to an end. So since that's your last day, we want you to go out on with a bang. We're gonna have you have an amazing farewell dinner in a local restaurant with traditional German food, having those incredible beers to taste alongside. Day 10 is going to be a departure day home. Back to New York, unless, and I'm going to let Carson go into this, you choose to extend your stay independently. So I'm going to pass it over to Carson. I want to mention one thing I forgot to at the beginning. The great thing about booking with Go Ahead as a partner of New York State Brewers Association is you do get a direct team in Carson and I. You don't have a 1-800 number you're going to be calling. After you book, Carson will be reaching out. I like to think he becomes like every traveler's best friend, but he is there to, we're both here as a resource. So just kind of a really great little perk. All right,
Perfect.
Carson.
Thank you, Sophia. So, hey, y'all, my name is Carson Lance, he, him, his. Serve as your point of contact as soon as you are enrolled on this tour to help you get prepared, to help answer any questions, to talk through insurance and flights in that one little excursion, as well as months of other respective pieces of how to do group guided travel. So, to paint a quick little picture regarding what we provide in terms of insurance, we have two respective insurance programs at EF Go Ahead Tours. And the reason why we do this is we know that the world can happen and change on a dime, right? I myself have experienced a diverted flight coming back from London where I was supposed to land back in Denver, but actually had to do a forced overnight in Salt Lake City. I've also had an experience where my flight was so delayed that I had to stay another night in a hotel in Germany before flying to Italy. And also, at the same time, my bags didn't even arrive on time. So, we provide insurance options with our insurance provider, Broadspire, to help protect you all in terms of peace of mind as well as the financial investment that you are making, right, by choosing to go on this tour. And so each one of these respective insurance plans provides you with coverage in the following four areas, right? Tour cancellation and interruption, right? Should there be some type of act of God or a world event that impacts the tour that we need to quickly evacuate you from Germany, right? Or that interrupts the operations of the tour. Lost, stolen, or damaged bags and personal effects, right? So, in thinking about should you have lost your passport somehow along the way, right? Should your bags be sent to Singapore instead of Frankfurt, right? Travel and baggage delays, right? So again, pretty understandable there in terms of not getting to the tour on time or vice versa returning. And certainly the accident and sickness side of the house, which is really just nomenclature to say any type of medical situation. Our basic plan starts off of around $349 per person, provides coverage in each one of those four areas, and specifically with accident and sickness, has a threshold of $25,000 of out-of-pocket medical expenses. Our total trip protection hovers around $449, same four areas of coverage, but actually increases it up to $50,000 of out-of-pocket medical expenses. However, when you add that total trip protection at the time of enrollment, also up to 3 days of enrolling on the tour, you receive two additional benefits. One is our pre-existing condition waiver. Many a times whenever you're filing a medical insurance claim, right, any type of medical situation that has been already determined as a pre-existing condition doesn't allow you for an opportunity for a claim, right? We, however, have said we understand that that is important when traveling abroad, and so have worked with our insurance provider to ensure that you have this opportunity to have any pre-existing condition be covered by our insurance plan if you add it at the time of enrollment up until 3 days. So truly, if a situation were to occur, let's say you might have asthma and you have an asthmatic attack while on tour that forces you to have a medical stay, note that you can then move forward with our insurance policy because you have that total trip protection with that pre-existing condition to then ask for that reimbursement because asthma is a pre-existing condition for you. And additionally, that second added benefit, which is historically a $75 added cost, is our any reason protection cancellation fee waiver. Here at Go Ahead, we have standard cancellation fees as connected to our payment plans, and I'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. However, once those cancellation fees start connected to your respective payment plan, we know that life can happen, right? And certainly some of those pieces are going to be covered by your insurance policy that you've hopefully purchased with us, but there's also certainly some life experiences that are outside of such. And so if you choose to cancel your participation on this tour prior to checking in for your flight, what happens is as follows. The cancellation fee at that moment in time, as based upon our schedule of cancellation fees, is actually going to be transformed into a future travel voucher for you. It's not money lost, it's money saved, right? And so that money doesn't go anywhere. It allows you to then replace yourself onto a different tour, hopefully with the New York State Brewers Association for a future tour, but protects that amount of money as an investment that you've already made, right? It's not money lost. The cost of insurance is non-refundable, right? So just like medical insurance, renter's insurance, car insurance, dental insurance, right? All of those costs are non-refundable, right? So that amount of money, unfortunately, cannot be refunded back to you. However, based upon how much money you've paid at that moment in time, subtracted by the insurance cost, subtracted by the cancellation fee that has been transformed into a voucher, the remaining amount of money that you have left on file would be refunded back to you onto that original form of payment. So all in all, the world's full of surprises, right? We can't control airlines. We certainly can't control human behavior, but having insurance creates a great peace of mind in terms of this financial investment that we hope that you make here with us. So with that, let's talk a little bit more about the airline industry. So what's great about our flight packages is truly easy and seamless. We have flights that are perfectly matched to the tour schedule. We also provide you with a free round trip check bag, regardless of the airline that you choose to be on, or if it's a standard flight package that you're presented with. So note that regardless of status, we're going to give you a free round trip check bag. And then also, if you travel on the standard tour dates of this respective tour, which would be September 14th and September 23rd, we would provide you with airport transfers, right? So a transfer would be taking you from the Frankfurt airport to the hotel in the city, and vice versa from your hotel in Munich to the Munich airport, right, on the 23rd. However, we understand that you might want to adjust things. You want to be a little different and maybe arrive beforehand or stay a little bit later. Or maybe you actually want to fly to Amsterdam afterwards, or maybe you want to fly to Lisbon. Those things are possible with us. So note that you have the ability to choose custom routes that we can then roll through with our contracted rates with the airlines. We can explore different upgrades to premium economy and business class. Again, we can think through how I can help you achieve another, benchmark of travel to get you from, maybe you're going to choose to fly from Munich over to Copenhagen, but want to fly Copenhagen back to Buffalo. Great. We can talk about what those processes would look like and what that means for you. The other piece of this is that you have the ability to window shop our flights, right? So truly what this means is that you have the ability to remove flights 91 days prior to departure without any financial repercussion. I understand it, right? People want to have a certain itinerary, and I am that exact same way too. But what's really great is to think through, how can I make this experience the way that I want it to be? What would that final price point would be? Great. Is that something I wish to pursue? Let's make this happen. So when you enroll initially to start, you're going to be locked in at an initial base fare flight price out of the respective airport that you're choosing. Fun fact, we actually already have some people enrolled on this tour, and some individuals have already determined that they wish to fly out of Buffalo. However, we, as Sophia mentioned, can fly you out of any respective major US airline or airport, as well as Canada too. So when you enroll, you'll have that locked in price point to start, which is fantastic. Again, all payments for this tour are inclusive of that flight price too, should you wish to add it, and there's no interest on top of such. And truly, what's fantastic to know is up until you check in for your flight, we have the ability per our contracts to help rebook you to a different itinerary, even if that means it's a different airline, right? That's the great thing about our fully refundable discounted fare class ticket that we get to purchase across all of our airlines. Should there be situations 45 days prior to departure where the airline chooses to cancel a leg of your itinerary, we're going to rebook you at no additional cost. It's great. I literally have to send those communications out to travelers all the time to say, hey, just want to let you know your Delta itinerary just got changed because Delta canceled a leg of the flight. Here's your new United-based itinerary, no additional cost. They're like, oh, fantastic, thanks so much. The one thing I want to note here too is any deviation from that standard flights package in which you initially add on at time of enrollment will come at an additional cost. Of course, we know not every single itinerary is the same price. Not every cabin in an airplane is also the same cost, right? So just note that you can see an additional price point anywhere from $200 to a couple $1,000 based upon your respective flight request. And that obviously the thousands of dollars come with a business class upgrade, right? That's just kind of standard for the course here. But it's really great because I want you to explore what shopping for flights will look like here for us, and then make that decision if that's something that you wish to move forward in doing so. What you'll need to travel, right? So if you're a US or Canadian citizen, you'll need a valid passport that doesn't expire for at least 6 months after you return home. So for me, knowing that this tour, the return date is September 23rd of 2026, I'm just going to say if your passport is expiring before June 1 of 2027, it's time to get a new passport, right? I just want to make sure you got enough coverage to make sure you don't have any issues returning back to the US, because the customs officer will look to make sure that your expiration date is at least 6 months after that date in which you return back onto US or Canadian soil. So again, take a look at your passport, see what you need, and you can always ask me questions if it's time for you to renew. Each country might have its own respective rules. So here in Germany, there might be some country-specific requirements. Let's talk a little bit about this conversation about the ETS visa. So it's ETIAS. At the current moment, this visa, in order to enter the Schengen area of Europe, in which Germany is part of, has not been fully fleshed out, has not been fully implemented, right? So at the moment, if you wanted to fly to Frankfurt tomorrow, you are more than welcome to, and you do not need to purchase a visa. However, should the Schengen area get its act together and determine that, yes, this is the time in which we want to move forward with a visa program, we, of course, will let you all know about that. The one thing I want to make sure I explicitly state here is just like a passport being something of your individual responsibility, a visa is also of your individual responsibility. We cannot purchase a visa for you. That has to be directly something that you would need to manage yourself. To paint a picture, I was just out in the Middle East on a go-ahead trip this past March, and I did some additional travel. I had to purchase my own visas into Saudi Arabia as well as Egypt, as that was a requirement for me in order to leave the secured airport area in order to visit those respective countries. So make sure you have a passport with an expiration date at least 6 months in advance after the return home date. We will let you know as well if this visa to visit Germany does roll out prior to departure. Do, however, know, right, that there are no testing requirements or proofs of vaccination. It's also not a bad idea to bring any medical documentation with you, right? I also provided a doctor's note with me at all times possible while I was in the Middle East. It says here are the respective prescription drugs that I must take in case I was going to be stopped at an airport, right? So never a bad idea to have that for yourself. But all in all, at the only moment right now, you only need a passport if you are a US or Canadian citizen to visit Germany. And if you are not a citizen of the US or Canada, I would definitely want to ensure that you are connecting with your own country's consulate, right, to ensure that you have the respective documentation, because it might be a requirement for you to not only have a passport, but also a visa as well. What you're responsible for. In group guided travel, we appreciate and thank those individuals on ground who help make this tour experience seamless and easy and epic and personal, right? And so truly what this looks like is that you can anticipate planning for around $12 to $15 USD to give right to our tour director, to the bus driver, as well as any step-on local guide. It's truly a meaningful way to recognize those individuals who help make this tour phenomenal. As mentioned, Sophia said, right, there are some included lunches, some included dinners, right? You're going to have those daily breakfasts, which are definitely key and crucial. However, some meals aren't included. So this is that perfect excuse for you to do a little bit of research to say, I have that free day in Nuremberg. Where am I going to have lunch? Where am I going to have dinner? Let me do some quick research. Is there a restaurant that I have been dying to visit? Great, an additional cost for you to think through too. The other side of this is that your tour director is always there to help provide recommendations. So should you have forgotten to plan dinner for one respective night, that's okay. Go make sure while on ground to talk to the tour director to say, hey, give me your 3 best options here that you think that I could go visit. Of course, I'll deal with the reservation side of the house, but just like let me know what you think I should go to. Think about your daily spending money. We love to bring back gifts, right, for our friends and our families and our loved ones. So whether that might be a specific stein, I'm looking at you, Jamie, right, or any other respective gift that you might be purchasing, you know, in any one of these locations. I think that free day in Nuremberg sounds lovely for some shopping, if I were to be honest. Just make sure you plan for a little bit of an extra budget here, and also to plan for those unexpected costs in terms of, you know, something else you might want to treat yourself with. When you do purchase flights with us, hopefully you do, right? Know again that we will include that free round trip check bag regardless of airline that is used for you. However, if you purchase a little too much, if you pack a little too much, any overweight or extra luggage costs, because you might need to buy a second piece of luggage there, that would be a responsibility to you, right? So we can provide you with that one free check bag if you purchase flights with us. However, anything beyond that for overweight, as well as a second piece of checked luggage, that would be a responsibility of the traveler. And then again, passport does cost money, whether you are grabbing your first ever passport or renewing your passport as well. All right, so last slide for me. Let's talk about how we provide flexible payment options. Let's just draw a quick little moment straight to the center as we kind of bolded and made a little bit bigger than the other options. We offer an auto pay option. Our auto pay option really breaks down the entire reservation cost into manageable bite-sized pieces for you as connected to your bank account or to a debit card. So truly, when you choose to enroll on this tour, right, all you have to do is put down $99 as a down payment. Then you get to choose either making monthly withdrawals or even bi-weekly withdrawals to help spread out the rest of your reservation cost, right? Please do know, as mentioned a little bit earlier, this respective payment plan is only allowed to be utilized if you're using a bank checking account or a Visa or MasterCard debit card, okay? We cannot use credit cards on our auto pay option. The auto pay option has to be coming from a known funding source in order for us to retrieve those respective funds. And the last thing to note here about our auto pay option is that it does have a 30-day risk-free window. So hopefully we don't need to make a decision to cancel off this tour, but just note that if you choose to enroll utilizing our auto pay option, $99 down per person, you do have a 30-day risk-free window. Over to your right-hand side, we have a pay manual process. Here, you would put down a $450 deposit, as that is the deposit for this respective tour. Additionally, if you add on insurance, which also hopefully you do, you will pay for the insurance at the time of enrollment. And note here, you can do a bank checking account, you can do a debit card that is a Visa or a MasterCard, or also a credit card that is with Visa or MasterCard. And over to the left-hand side, we have a pay in full at time of enrollment. So truly with either a Visa or MasterCard debit card or credit card or a bank checking account, you can fully pay off your tour at the time of enrollment. So as you can see here on this slide, we only accept Visa or MasterCard. We are not the best of friends with Discover and Amex. However, when we think about traveling abroad, Amex is really not heavily utilized and is not going to be on the networks of a majority of European countries. So truly, Visa and MasterCard works better because it is more heavily accepted in Germany as well as other European countries. And I'll turn it back over to Sophia.
Awesome. Thanks, Carson. One thing I'd like to mention here is it is flexible. So if you do want to start with one, you can actually, like if you wanted to start with the auto pay, you can switch to the manual. You just have to make up the difference in deposit and pay for your insurance. So, or if you want to make larger chunk payments with your auto pay with a credit card, you can absolutely do that. It'll just reduce the total balance of those monthly or biweekly payments. And so we've talked about who EF is. About Go Ahead. We've gone through this incredible itinerary and all the inclusions, and Carson, our flight guru, has talked us through flight packages. So how do we reserve? Well, let's start with pricing. Double occupancy, it's $49.49 per person. That includes the 8 nights in those handpicked hotels, the breakfast daily. I do want to clarify, I think it said 3 lunches. It's actually 3 dinners with optional beer or wine. It's optional in that you don't have to drink it if you don't want to. It's included. So 3 dinners with beer or wine, entrance to Oktoberfest, the 8 beer tastings, the 3 food tastings, the 9 sightseeing tours, those incredible tour directors, local guides, and of course that private deluxe motor coach. And if you would like to add a flight package, we've priced it out of NYC. It's $14.43 per person, making it a total of $63.92. You'll see single occupancy. So double occupancy means you either have a roommate or a partner that is accompanying you. We have twin beds or a double bed, which will just be one big bed for you to share. Single occupancy is going to be, hey, I want my room solo. That is going to be $57.84. All the same great inclusions, same pricing for flights, making it a total of $72.27 per person. We have 22, we actually have 20 spots available now. We had 2 snatched up right when the presentation began. So this is meant to be a really intimate, amazing custom experience. So we wanted to make sure we kept it smaller so you guys can actually really experience these amazing cities and Oktoberfest and get that kind of like VIP treatment we want you to have. There are only 5 single rooms. Actually, I think there's only 3 available now. So if you are wanting a single room, just know those do go fast. So snatch those up now. Excursion, we have that one optional. You know, we recommend adding it. You don't have to, it is optional. And of course, our travel insurance, we highly recommend adding that. We do want to offer a little thank you to you guys. So we are offering $150 off per person until the 13th of September. So that's Saturday, September 13th. So how do we book this amazing tour, Sophia? Well, I have 2 QR codes here. Book now. Pretty self-explanatory. You scan that, it'll take you to the website. You can actually see the website beneath. We're going to put it in the chat too, so you guys have it. And then also you can see the little guy or gal with the headset like I have. That is actually going to be to schedule time with our amazing reservation consultants. So we have an incredible team that works specifically with our partnerships groups. I think some of you have actually talked to them. They can walk you through, like, we're going to open it up here for questions and all of that, but there might be questions that are a little bit more personal you don't want to ask. That's what they're there for. Think of them as like your personal concierge. They can walk you through the itinerary. If you have any questions that, you know, financial nature or health related that you don't want to share right now, that's what they're there for. You can see their hours. Just reference the New York State Brewers, Beers of Germany. They'll know exactly what you're talking about. Everybody is so excited about this tour. I think the whole office is incredibly jealous and wants to go. And again, you can see, reminder, friends and family are welcome. We can fly people. I had the New York City pricing, but we can fly people from across the continental US and Canada. And enrollment is now open. It is first come, first serve, and the spots are limited. So just know, you know, it is here when you guys are ready to book. Oh, one thing I want to note here, if you do book on the website, we do manually adjust it later. It's just going to reflect our current monthly promotion, which is only $75 off. We will make sure that you guys get $150 off. Trust, it's like I said, you have a direct team with Carson and I, so we'll make sure you're taken care of. Another thing I'm going to note again, if you've traveled with us in any way in the past, if you traveled as a student, if you traveled with Ultimate Break, if your kid traveled with us, let us know you're eligible for extra discounts. All right, I'm going to stop talking finally, and I'm going to open it up for questions. Anybody, if you want to hop off mute.
More than welcome to put them in the chat too. Totally fine there.
I'll do a little final prost too before we start the questions off. It looks like we might
have a question.
Oh, yeah.
My question is in regards to, do we have any say over airlines, or is it just you guys book them?
You definitely have a say over your airlines. So
Awesome.
You are more than welcome to request a certain airline or a specific alliance as well. I live out here in Denver. Sophia lives a little bit north of me here in Colorado. As such, I exclusively only fly United, and if I need to, I'll fly Lufthansa. And so I always submit a flight request whenever I go on one of our tours to be on United base flights. That also means it might not be the cheapest itinerary. However, that is a specific need, like a non-negotiable for me, that is super key and important because I continue to travel with United and earn status levels and all those great benefits. So you're absolutely more than welcome to request an airline. Just know it is going to be an additional price point beyond what that standard base fare that you initially see on your flights, on your reservation from that respective airport too. Also, I know way too many things. So if you want to be like, well, then where's the best place to be flying out of if I want to be flying with Delta? I was like, okay, well, here's a great option you can explore there too. So, and we also have some really good flights team members. So I'm not the individual who actually will book your flights. I'm kind of like the, I don't know, the great communicator. I make sure you all feel good and you know where to go, and we talk about all these pieces. But our flights team will be able to provide you all with those itinerary options for you that you wish to explore. It's never a bad idea to also say, here's what my max budget would look like for flights too, Jamie.
I'm just impressed you knew I was a Delta girly, so thank you for that.
I know that you're a Delta girly. We're gonna fight, but it's okay. Just kidding. John, great question. If we want to extend our stay, does that need to be determined at the time of booking, or is that worked out afterwards? John, we have plenty of time to work through that. What's really great about our flight process is that we don't start that until 200 days prior to departure. And the reason why, you might be like, well, why only 200 days? Right now, you're around 380 days away from this tour. AKA, airlines are just now figuring out what their flight schedules might even look like. Some don't even release them until 320. Some don't even release them to 300 days prior. So even from 300 days to 200 days, there is a lot of things moving and shaking, right? So truly, tons of schedule changes, tons of routing changes. They might even cancel respective flights going there and from, right, on certain days, right? When we think about seasonality and the frequency. And so what's great is that when we start this flights process around 200 days prior to departure, that's when I'd want you to start figuring out a little bit more around, hey, these are actually the dates that I want to explore them. Can we take a look at an itinerary that works from that side of the house? So truly, right now, we're around 180 days away from figuring out flights. We have plenty of time to think through what an extension of time will look like. And John, I can absolutely provide you with some insight as I tend to, and Sophia does a lot with our tours, take a little bit of our own independent travel afterwards.
Well, and to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, Carson, because John kind of had a great follow-up question. He asked if they should kind of wait to book. I'm a big believer in, because it's just a part of your package. Hedge your bets. Like, you're locking in the lowest price now. You can always shop around. And like Carson had mentioned, you can remove our flights up until 91 days prior to departure. So you can really shop around if you open a credit card and get miles, like, however, and or if, you and Carson gets talking and you're like, hey, I don't like those options. You have a lot of flexibility with our flight package built in. However, flight pricing is dynamic. So if you do wait, the price could increase. So just know the great thing is, if you are doing payment plans, if you do decide to pay in full, it is a part of your package. If you pay in full, we'll refund it back. If it's part of your payment plan, that'll just be a decrease in the balance. So,
yeah.
Anybody else?
Do you guys have any, I guess, like preferred shipping partners or anything that you have? Only because when we're over there, the last time we went, would have been nice if we would have thought to maybe ship some stuff back instead of taking it with us on the plane. And I was wondering if you had any type of services like that.
That's a really great question. I feel like that is going to be dependent on, are you thinking of shipping beer back, or are you thinking of shipping souvenirs back?
Probably not alcohol. We'll try to consume that all in Europe. But I shouldn't say that the last time some came back with us, but I'm just saying more like souvenirs and things like that. So it's kind of like they're tossing your bags around between planes and all the rest of that. It's kind of like there's only so much carry-on you can take. So that was just my question, and that kind of came up on the last one. We never thought about it, So I'm thinking about it now, and I was just wondering if you had some sort of partner or service to, granted, I know if you ship it from Munich, yeah, you're probably going to get home before that would get home. But I'm just saying is that, do you have any type of services like that?
It's a great question. I think, it's dependent on where you guys are going. Like if for example, you are going to like when you visit the brewery, they might have their own shipping that they would
Mhm.
recommend. A lot of travelers will kind of, especially if they're coming from the same area, will split the costs or something like that. If not, that is the great thing about having that tour director is they are locally based, so they'll be able to direct you to the best option in that area.
Yeah. Kevin, we don't have a specific partner that we would like have a cool like promotion code or anything of that
Yeah.
is like of a of a true partnership with us with Go Ahead. But there are multiple different services that you can look into. I like Sophia's suggestion around like, hey, what do you suggest, tour director? Like where can we where we need to be taking this? When I was in Japan last year, right, I would just head on over to one of the konbinis and like off we go, take it Family Mart or 7-Eleven because they have those shipping services out in Japan to then take things back. But I think that that would definitely be a conversation to have with the tour director or just a plan in advance.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
just thinking more of just convenience.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
Absolutely
sure.
so.
I you heard me talk about my bag as a mom of a 2-year-old. Like I am all about that. So I hear that. Anyone else? Great questions.
Yeah, I had a question about the day at Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Are we actually gonna get into a tent, like with tickets, or is it
Oh yeah, for sure. And you'll have your tour director will be going with you. They're not going to like hold your hand the whole time. They want you to experience things like
Yeah.
for yourselves, but they'll definitely, and that's the great thing about having them is you really get I cannot stress this enough. Like our tour, it's so funny. I feel like my role in this, I'm the communicator mainly with like the partner and our partners. That's one of their favorite things about working with Go Ahead is our tour directors. They become like best friends of almost everybody they travel with. So they're there to be like, hey, head this way, or think of questions. They're there as a resource. It's really an awesome thing. You basically get like a VIP map of Oktoberfest kind of built in with them. So
okay? I understand that because we'd been there before, and you can get direct access into a tent, or you can go around the back, and still sample beers for that particular tent. But we were just curious if you actually got into the tent, like for the lunch or the dinner session.
yeah, it's you will get get to sample some Bavarian like snacks and you get some beer and you can see even in the description you will be in a tent.
Yeah. So you'll go in the afternoon session from there. And I just put that straight from the itinerary on that day 8 into the chat so you can see exactly what it says. But yeah, you're hopping into a tent with all kinds of people.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Of course.
I'm excited to see the pictures from this tour. It's going to be awesome. We better have some amazing costumes. I feel like I know my husband would be right there with the lederhosen. So anyone else? Feel free to jump off. We're here to answer questions.
Also, when I send a follow-up email tomorrow, would it be helpful if people had questions? I can always direct them to you guys, right?
The great thing about our reservation consultants is they'll be
Hmm.
able to like we'll absolutely put that information. Jamie, I can send that to you to send out. They're a great resource for that, just as far as, just making sure that if you have any questions that you didn't want to ask tonight, they'll be able to kind of guide you through that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So our reservation consultants will be your first point of contact, right? In terms of any of those additional questions you might have, in terms of they're there to help build a quote for you, right? Like, so if you need to kind of mull things over a little bit, that's totally understandable. They are your point person. They can help build out that quote, help reserve you. And then once you are enrolled, then you will hear from me and I will be your point of contact moving forward from there.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. We both hope that you'll be able to join this incredible tour. This itinerary is just, it's like so many bucket list items. I'm so excited for y'all.
Thank
We'll
you
hang
guys so
around here.
much.
Yeah, we'll hang around here just for a minute. Just
Thanks, everyone. Ask any last minute questions.